There are themes within Takmalah that listeners may find triggering, including intrusive thoughts, violence, domestic abuse, and suicidal ideation. If any of the topics in this episode speak to you, you're not alone. We have partnered with SAD, who host an online support group every Thursday, aptly named Shits and Giggles. Wherever you are on your journey, SAD offers a chance to connect, to be heard and supported by this incredible group of survivors. We've put the link in the show notes, so please get in touch. If you want to become an ally, follow us, rate, review, share, and we can grow this community and help anyone trying to escape an abusive relationship. With each episode, we gain in strength, numbers, and confidence, and are proud to share an initiative we've been working on. We want to implement a domestic violence disclosure scheme in Portugal to prevent any more deaths at the hands of domestic abusers. And with your virtual signature, we are one step closer, as there really is safety in numbers. So please add your name at the link below. Head over to www.change.org/domestic violence disclosure scheme PT. Thank you for listening. I'm feeling really vulnerable, Paige. It's time. I'm going to tell you about the night I met Baked Beans. Ooh! But before I do, Famalam, I need to speak to you. I'm painfully aware that, as it often is for victims of domestic abuse, that I'm perceived as unreliable, overtly emotional, and perhaps you might think I'm incapable of accurately interpreting what happened to me. Be aware that this is how abuse gets reframed, and it's how diagnosis can become more believable than disclosures. Throughout history, women's credibility has been questioned. Instead of asking women what happened to them, the question gets shifted to what's wrong with them. What's wrong with her? I received that loud and clear. And it was soul-destroying to realise that if I speak too directly, if I refuse to sugarcoat what happened, then I'm bitter, rude, abrasive, difficult. So I'm well aware that I have learnt to package every truth carefully, choosing the safest words I could. And even then I watched my experiences get twisted, softened, dismissed, questioned, and sadly used against me. I'm not making my truth comfortable for other people anymore, because that sounds too much like what I had to do with him. I've spent so much of my life having my decisions criticised, my choices monitored, and my judgment undermined. Abuse teaches you that every decision is dangerous, because it is. It was. And when I've been confused and my confusion has caused even more confusion, it's not about what I want. It's because I'm terrified of wanting the wrong thing. Does that make sense? My nervous system, even now, still believes every quiet moment is simply the calm before the next storm, the next attack, and I wish it didn't. I'm an expert on him because I had to become one. Which is also why advice has often felt like control, even well-meaning advice. When you've spent enough time having your judgment dismantled, being told what to do
doesn't feel like help. It feels like a trap. I kept getting told to leave. Leave what? I'm halfway through rebuilding a house. I didn't even have electricity. He'd ripped it off the wall, remember? And even now, I do look back and I was asking, screaming for help. Help me build the cornerstone to stop him from getting in. Help me make my electrics safe. Because that's what safety looked like to me. Conversations just became more interrogations. Why didn't you? Have you tried? Are you sure? If I was, I wouldn't. And I was already questioning myself more brutally than anyone else ever could. My memory was shattered. I found it so hard to build a timeline. CPTSD affects memory. Trauma fragments experience. And I kept repeating myself because I was trying to convince myself that, well, it started off. I didn't want it to be true. I think you've probably picked up on that. But no, it really did happen. It was real. And even now I have to remind myself of that sometimes. And I just want to make it clear before I go into this whole next bit. I don't hate men. I hate rapists. I hate people exerting coercive control. I really hate stalking. I hate being hit. And a gentle reminder, I didn't stalk any man. I didn't violate any man. I didn't terrorise any man. Those things were done to me. Do you think domestic abuse, do you think there's a blindness to it? Because it has felt more often than not that it is easier to make me the problem to deal with the behaviour that created the damage in the first place. There were moments I caught myself thinking ridiculous things. An eye for an eye. My pound of flesh. I mean, I'd been called a demon, a devil, and yeah, well, there were points. And even now, when I'm met with another load of bollocks like I did a couple of weeks ago, because I took a break from recording, just as I started to get back into it. I went to the cobbler and he tried to sexually assault me, and it threw me into a completely different headspace. Not because I froze, because I didn't. I melted down like a candle, ducked away, backed out, and then got the fuck out of there. But I saw the difference for the first time. I didn't think to hurt him. What I saw was a man in his late 70s. Well, I was in disbelief. He'd managed to get me in a headlock. And my neck, seriously, my neck and back still hurt now. But this time, it just made me unbearably sad. I got out of there and I sat in my car. I just felt this overwhelming net of sadness. Sadness for every little girl that becomes a woman, that becomes an elderly woman. I mean, all the teenagers. Because even now, even after everything, even when I'm closed off, guarded, and carrying enough armour for 10 people, it still happens. One of my friends rang at exactly the right moment. And I actually said what had happened. She put me a flight. She listened, she understood, no explaining, no questioning. Gosh, that simple but understanding. And I just thought, we live in a world where powerful men can be accused repeatedly, settle claims, be convicted even, and still hold influence. Colin McGregor, interviewed by Jimmy Fallon. I mean, sexual abuse and domestic abuse are the only times when you have to prove. Did you know that? I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but do you understand what I mean? Telling the story feels vulnerable. And that's where I'm lucky, because there's one community I know won't ask me to prove my pain before offering compassion, and that's survivors. And the survivor network is strong. It's wide. It runs deep in every facet of society. Survivors don't turn away when the story gets uncomfortable. They already know. They know what coercive control does. They know what stalking feels like. They know what betrayal trauma is. They know what it costs to finally leave. And I think I may have learnt discernment along the way. I've learnt what to share and when. And I have stopped asking people to believe me. I'll show you the pattern instead, because patterns don't cry, patterns don't exaggerate, they don't forget, patterns tell the truth. And if the facts, the evidence and the statistics still aren't enough, that's all about you, not to do with me and not to do with any other victim. I did realise this time that the system works really well. The system isn't broken, is it? The system is brilliant at protecting abusers. It's wonderful. It works really well. But that got me fired up. Anyway, I digress. Let's get back to the story, the night that I met Baked Beans. The night my life got totally fucked. So, that night I was wearing a red dress. And in my mind, I remember thinking one thing. I would love a snog, like a proper old-fashioned snog. Full-on ton tango. You know that moment when your bodies start moving together without either of you thinking about it and you're sort of dancing. Anyway, I was wearing this proper chilled out skater dress. Vulcan, shout out. Square neckline, spaghetti straps, just above the knee, A-line. I looked great. And I felt good. I felt good, Paige. And I'd gone out for dinner with a woman that had taken me in like Mary from the Bible, you know? After my father had passed away, am I going there? Am I saying, yeah, Paige, I am. I'm going to tell you. After my father passed away, I sat there on the toilet and the final boiler in the house just exploded. And I remember just thinking, for fuck's sake, and the electrics blew. That's why this whole electric thing is, you know, I've had these circuits blowing up. It's all been a bit much. Anyway, and my builder had not been very nice. I trusted him. His father had also died, and he'd said, don't worry, I'll get it sorted out for you. Just be out of your house for a month. I wasn't allowed back for 4 months, and it was really, really stressful. So me and the dogs were touring around, staying with people, or staying in weird hotels or halfway houses. It was quite the experience. So I'd taken her out on a dinner to say thank you because she let me stay for for a couple of days while I waited for the guy to come back with my key. Yes, all a bit stressful. Anyway, I felt good. I was feeling myself. And after the dinner, we went down for a drink, and there he was. Looked like a bit of a mess, not my type at all. I didn't look at him and think, God, I fancy him. But I distinctly remember noticing, I think he was slightly boss-eyed. Just a smidge. Anyway, that was my first thought. But we got chatting, and it was the sort of conversation I like. Firstly, it wasn't English, and it was amazing. It was playful and taking the piss out of life's real atrocities like burger sauce and sweet chili sauce on sushi. He entertained it, I enjoyed it. And yeah, I don't know. I couldn't name it at the time, but after reading everything I have done about coercive control, manipulation, my body knew. My body already knew. My body noticed something long before my brain did. Yeah, look, I mean, I was vulnerable, Paige. I was renovating a ruin in a foreign country. I could barely speak any Portuguese whatsoever. And my car had been impounded by the police. My dad had died a few months earlier. And tradespeople just kept kind of, I don't know, it was difficult. It was just difficult. And I just spent months living in a building site trying to make it into a home. And this was my first night out after all of that. And yeah, Paige, I fancied a snog. Is that bad? I don't think so. But my stomach was in knots. It was my nervous system screaming. It was inflamed. I ignored it because I didn't know what those feelings meant yet. But I do now. And a few things happened on that first meeting. I'd actually left my phone in his car and he brought it back the next day, and I'd had a builder there and he just walked straight on into my property. No announcement, no shouting up to me. Just came right on in, and I was actually on the phone. And he walked up and he just kissed me straight on the mouth. And at the time I brushed it off. But looking back, that's quite intense for someone you barely met. Something just hit me, Paige. Now look, it's not in the right order, so don't now think that because I'm jumping somewhere that you know, it's not true. It is. I don't know if I've actually said this so far. Wow. Just feel this like wave of sadness. Do you know, he wouldn't let me grieve my dad. Because his father had died when he was 14. Have I already told you this? It's just hitting me again. I don't even know, but it's just so incredibly mean. It wasn't nice. He said I was a horrible person. He just went on and on and on at me. Another time, and he'd just come on in to my house. And he'd done that whole staring off into the space thing. Telling me what an awful person I was. How dare I speak about my father's death and get upset when his father had died when he was a boy. Our fathers died at the same age. I think. I don't know for certain. Don't judge me on that. I just can't. I can't remember with OCD level 100 certainty. Shit. Fuck. That really hurt me, you know. It's quite hard also when you can't sort of express why you're perhaps not feeling great or up to much, you know. I haven't processed my father's death. I do feel really sad because my dad would have sorted this out, you know.